The Kia Sorento has won more awards than I've had hot dinners, mainly because I think ovens are the devil's work. But Mazda has got this new flagship CX-8, and it's freshly updated for 2023, and it is a genuine luxury hauler. Wait till you see inside it. Question is, can it upset the status quo in the family SUV segment? What do you reckon? Is the Mazda cruising for a bruising, or is the Kia about to cop one in the chops? Have your say in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Kia Sorento has 3 car sales best large SUV wins and 1 car sales Car of the Year award to its name, and is our undisputed champion of the family SUV class. It's feature-packed, has plenty of tech and safety systems, and is available in a wide range of guises, including front-wheel drive petrol and all-wheel drive diesel. But so too is the older but newly updated CX-8, which will continue to serve as Mazda's cheapest 7-seat SUV after the CX-9 is effectively replaced by the all-new CX-90 later in 2023. Both vehicles here are top-spec flagship variants, and the Kia Sorento GT line and Mazda CX-8 Asaki LE have plenty in common, such as a 2.2-litre diesel all-wheel drive powertrain, 3-row seating layout, luxurious leather seat trim, and $65,000 plus price tags. But there's actually a fair difference in price, and the Kia effectively takes the early lead in this stoush because it's around $6,000 cheaper. The Kia also has a longer warranty by 2 years and is cheaper to service for the first 3 years. But on average, the Kia costs around $500 a year to service over 7 years, while the Mazda is a bit cheaper at $490 per annum over 5 years. You can get petrol engines in both these SUVs, but today we're comparing turbo diesels, and they offer a greater touring range and improved drivability with better low-end thrust compared to a petrol engine. But the flip side, they're a bit louder and they're a bit dirtier. Pros and cons. Both engines are 2.2 litres in size, but the slightly larger displacement in the Mazda sees it generate more torque. That said, the Kia has slightly more power. Both can tow up to 2,000 kilograms as well. Both are all-wheel drive, and the Mazda runs a conventional 6-speed automatic transmission, while the Kia gets an 8-speed dual-clutch auto. Now, the dual-clutch autos are generally quicker to shift and sometimes a bit more efficient, but they're not necessarily smoother or more reliable. Starting with the Kia, it makes quite the impression when you get in the car, and while some of the design is a little bit busy, there's lots of different textures and colours going on, they give it a techno-luxe ambience, and that is a made-up word I usually reserve for German cars. Material quality is pretty good across the board, and while there are some harsh plastics, they're in areas you're unlikely to touch or rest a limb. There's lots of piano black too, on which fingerprints show up all too easily. But all is forgiven when you settle into the Napa leather appointed driver's seat, which delivers comfort and support with good side bolstering, 14-way power adjustment, 2 memory settings, plus heating and cooling. Storage cubbies are pretty orthodox. There's no secret underseat drawers or anything like that, but you do get a lot of real estate. You've got a large central bin here, little incidental storage areas, spring-loaded cup holders, nice, and this nicely damped concealed charge station. You've got 3 USB-A ports and a wireless phone charger. The 10.25-inch central touchscreen looks good and is easy to navigate, the native operating system providing large, clear icons, but there's not a huge amount of depth here. But I do like the explanations for the more advanced safety systems. But voice recognition? It only works with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and neither are wireless, so you'll always need a USB-A cable with you. If you're like me and you have kids, the in-car intercom will pique your interest. You hit the passenger talk button and it picks up your voice through the microphone, it turns off music or audio and it pipes it into the rear speakers so the little tallywhackers can be admonished. Problem is, it's kind of gimmicky because you can actually hear the voice coming out of your mouth louder than you can coming out of the speakers. So it's a bit pointless. And if the kids aren't around, a premium 12-speaker Bose stereo with subwoofer and adjustable ambient LED cabin lighting can really set the mood. The 12.3-inch digital driver's display has decent functionality, 4 different visual themes linked to drive modes, a clever blind spot video feed linked to the indicators, and reasonable trip computer detail, but no map overlay. Everything's controlled via the steering wheel buttons, and smaller touches like the electronic child lock and the drive mode selector, they're super handy. I don't mind the rotary gear shifter either, which doesn't block any controls or plugs. The reversing camera has clear, sharp visuals, and you can also remote park the vehicle without even needing to sit inside it. It's pretty cool. There's also a 360-degree view and a few more camera angles, but no 3D panning mode like newer rivals. All right, we're in the Mazda, and straight away, it's really nice. The design is not as busy as the Kia. It's more traditional and more conventional, and I gotta say, I really like it. Material quality is on par with the Kia, maybe slightly better in some areas. Major touch points have a luxury feel, such as the steering wheel, armrests, and gear shifter, but guess what? Piano black is in there, but not as much of it. The Nappa leather seats are also heated and cooled, but are not as wide, deep, or supportive. You get 8-way power adjust for driver and 6-way power adjust for the front passenger seat. Storage solutions in the Mazda are not as abundant as in the Kia. The central bin is small. It's about half the size of what you get in the Kia, but these gorgeous butterfly opening doors, beautiful. There's a little storage area here too, but as soon as you put your phone there, it's a wireless phone charger, it renders it obsolete. You're not going to put your keys there. Cup holders, a little bit bigger than in the Kia, spring-loaded, they're nice, but overall the Kia has more and better incidental storage. The central screen looks great, but it's not a touchscreen. This isn't always a problem, maybe something you adjust to. The menu systems are intuitive, and the sat-nav isn't too different to the Kia's, and it gets wireless Apple CarPlay. But Android Auto is wired only, and you need a USB-C cable for this one. Annoyingly though, you have to control Android Auto and Apple CarPlay with this rotary controller, which is tedious and painful. The driver's digital display is a small circular jobby, and it looks very classy, but doesn't have half as many options as the Kia. The adjustable head-up display is not quite as detailed as the Kia's, but it still looks great and is very effective. The reversing camera image is just on par with the Kia and makes parking the big SUV a lot easier than constant head checking. While the Mazda cabin is beautifully presented and well equipped, the Kia wins out in most areas. The Mazda's lack of a touchscreen intended to reduce distraction, but in reality it's much of a muchness. When it comes to safety, they both feature all the latest tech. And while the Kia has more airbags, only the Mazda's side curtain airbags protect the heads of third-row occupants. The back seat of the Kia is spacious and welcoming. This is really lovely. I like the fact that the seats are quite comfortable, but they're also perched up quite high, which not only gives you a good view out of the car, but for taller passengers or those with long legs, you know, your legs aren't perched up like this, and with this gap here, you've actually got good under-thigh support. I could sit back here for a long time very happily. There's also quite a bit of adjustability. You've got sliding, you've got reclining, have a little kip, and the seats are also heated, not bad. And if you're sitting on the left, you can even do this and give yourself a bit more room. Although if someone's sitting in the front seat, they might get a little upset. Amenity is very good too, with window shades, air vents, 3 USB-A ports, a 12-volt socket, and of course a fold-down central armrest. Getting into the third row of the Sorento is pretty straightforward. You hit this one button here, boom, we're in. All right, let's see how we go for space. All right, it's not bad, but I wouldn't want to spend too much time back here. I've got no headroom. Look, it's for kids and teenagers. Probably that's about it, but it does have good amenity. There's a USB port, there's cup holders, there's air vents, there's even fan adjust for the temperature, and one button and we're back out. And check out the captain's chairs in the second row in the Mazda. This is pretty spiffy. Power adjustable, fore and aft, and also for recline. And these recline a lot. Bear with me, we'll get to the bump stop. There it is. That is super relaxing, it's comfortable, it feels like proper business class. Cop that, Kia. Now, in terms of overall room, legroom is on par with the Kia. It's excellent. There's heaps, and under thigh support too, even for long-legged types, is really, really good. But again, it's got those high seats, almost too high. Can I put them down? No, I can't. So it doesn't adjust for height. And my head's a little close here, it feels a little bit claustrophobic, but amenity much better than the Kia because you get the heated seats, but also the cooled seats. There's a third climate control zone. You know, the fundamental problem is it's missing a seat compared to the Kia, but overall, this is just divine. You get dual seat back pockets too, a secret central drawer, massive central bin with twin USB-A ports, window blinds, and better door storage. And while it's not quite as roomy, it is seriously lush. Like in the Kia, there is one-touch operation to get into the third row, but unlike the Kia, this one takes forever. It's going to do the recline, it's going to do the slide, and we're going to use movie magic to speed it all up. All right, let's see what it's like back here. And again, can we get some movie magic? Thank you. All right, well, it's definitely more cramped back here. I've got less headroom, the windows are smaller, it's more claustrophobic. I haven't figured out how to get the seat all the way back. There's also no air vents. There's USB ports and cup holders, but in general, apart from the slightly nicer leather upholstery, it's a little bit rough back here. I think I prefer the Kia a lot more. Lastly, I should point out that unlike the Sorento, there are no ISOFIX child seat anchorages in the third row. Both these family SUVs come with powered tailgates, and starting with the Kia, folding down the seats is very easy. Just pull these little straps here and away you go. And this opens up plenty of cargo space, and it's quite flexible too. And I love that under here, there's an actual spot for the cargo blinds. You've also got cargo nets, secret cubbies in here. It's a really flexible space. Amenity is okay with a bright light, 12-volt socket, and a full-size spare under the bottom of the car. So the Mazda also gets easy fold-down rear seats. Look at that. Very straightforward, but you don't get quite as much cargo space there. However, I do like the fact you've got some really clever hidden storage cubbies here that click into place. There's also a false floor with extra storage under there. But another negative, those second row captain seats, they don't fold all the way flat. So again, when you fold all the seats down, or attempt to, you don't get as much room as in the Kia. There's no full-size spare, just a temporary spare wheel. An amenity is average with 4 tie-down hooks, a 12-volt socket, and flip-out bag hooks. There's no cargo cover though. While the Mazda has a more luxurious ambience and some really lovely features in the cabin, it cannot match the Sorento for space, seat count, or practicality. But can it claw back points on the road? Cue the driving music. The Sorento has a heavy set feel on the road, and that's not a criticism. It feels planted and secure and has good road holding. And I think a part of that is due to its rather large tyres. And I've got to say, the steering has a little bit of heft to it as well. There's a bit of weight to it, and I quite like that. The diesel engine ensures the Korean SUV is fairly responsive off the line, thanks to a nice thick band of easily accessible low-end torque, which makes it effortless to punt around in the suburbs and exurbs. It's not the quickest diesel we've ever tested, but it is fleet when accelerating at higher speeds. And I reckon the quick shifting 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission can take some of the credit here. If you're looking for an urban explorer, the Kia will not disappoint. It's got nice direct steering, a responsive engine from low speeds, and the elevated ride height gives you a really good view of your surroundings. And this makes things like the school drop-offs, grocery runs, and other errands an absolute cakewalk. And I gotta say, the blind spot camera feed are really handy. Ride comfort is very good. The McPherson strut front and multi-link rear suspension, tracking over speed bumps and rough roads. You really wouldn't know it was riding on big 20-inch wheels half the time. Dynamically speaking, the Kia is pretty good for a big 7-seat family SUV. The chassis induces solid road holding and pretty good body control through the corners. And while you're not going to be chasing down hot hatches, it can be quite fun on a curving, windy section of road. Refinement levels are above average, and while the engine can make a bit of clatter at startup or when revved hard, there's not too much tyre or wind noise. Simply put, it's a very pleasant SUV to spend time in. Around town, the Mazda matches the Kia's elevated seating position, but it's not quite as polished when it comes to suburban navigation. The design of the rear end is sportier, but that also means your vision is a little bit impeded back there. Plus, it doesn't have that blind spot video feed either. The Mazda's engine spins more quickly and feels more responsive to throttle input than the Kia's, which is in keeping with the rest of the car's sporty personality. But it's important to understand there's not a lot of difference in performance here. It's just about the way it's delivered. Standing start thrust is comparable, but there's a hint more zing in the Mazda's response. The 6-speed auto isn't as quick to shift, nor is it as refined as the Kia's cog swapper. But it's generally pretty smooth and diligent and is a tried and tested lump of engineering. The Mazda employs a similar independent suspension arrangement front and rear, but it doesn't have the sophisticated feel of its rival. Ride quality is good, don't get me wrong, but there's a firm edge to it at times, and it doesn't glide over rough roads and speed bumps with the same fluidity and settled nature of the Kia. Simply put, it wasn't as quiet or comfortable across all our test loops. Overall, I feel like the Kia is more fit for purpose and is probably a better all-rounder. If our testing has proved anything, it's that these family SUV flagships will sail beautifully into the busy daily lives of their owners. Fitted with loads of clever time-saving features, heaps of technology, plenty of luxury, and the sort of versatility to make a Swiss Army knife blush, they show that car makers are listening to what customers want, and in the Mazda's case, are willing to take a highbrow risk with something a little different. But the Kia is the winner, yet again. It's more affordable, more practical, it has better equipment levels, it has broader driver appeal and a longer warranty, all of which were key factors in this victory. But let me add, this is an honourable loss for the Mazda. This is a great family SUV, and if you're looking for something a bit more special, a little bit fancy, it will not disappoint. But as it stands, the Kia Sorento is still the undisputed champion of the family SUV world. Thanks for watching, hope you liked that, and if you did, hit like and also subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and don't forget to watch our other content. Thanks again.